Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Movie News here at MBE. Got a glimpse of me there. Not ready, but we're other professionals here at MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us on YouTube and of course Twitch, where we have such a big following on Twitch. Not yet. We'll work on that. We'll work on our marketing on that.
We have currently zero viewers on Twitch.
Yeah. That's more than one from last night. But John, I'm just going to crack on with the show before we get down this depressing hole. Mulan still getting a theatrical release in China, confirmed by new poster.
Speaking of poster, Stephen, incredible synchronicity.
Yeah.
Incredible level.
I can't wait to see
posters.
this film. Enter the Avengers. It's coming out next year, apparently.
Avengers
On
Enter the Dragon.
VOD it's coming out on. But China will be one of the countries showing Mulan on the big screen instead of Disney Plus, as a new poster confirms to be announced. Theatrical plan. Disney's Mulan is still getting a theatrical release in China, as confirmed by a new poster. The latest live-action remake from Disney was supposed to arrive in theatres back in March, but the coronavirus pandemic forced it to be delayed. Mulan was shifted 2 times, first to July, then to August, before briefly being pulled off the release calendar entirely. With more and more movies being bumped to streaming and VOD, there was some speculation that Mulan could follow that track. Then just last week, Disney announced its intention to release Mulan on Disney Plus on September 4th for $29.99, that is. And almost immediately, this decision sent shockwaves through the internet, and Hollywood. Disney CEO Bob Chapek insisted this will be a one-off situation and that the hefty $30 charge will be for a one-time only. Subscribers will then own the movie. The plan is for Mulan to still be released in theatres in certain territories where Disney Plus isn't available, but it will be on the streaming service for countries like the United States, Canada and Australia. Theatre owners condemned this decision almost immediately, with one theatre owner even going as far as to destroy a Mulan advertisement. Wow. Big statement there. But this is coming in from Screen Rant, John. I have to credit Screen Rant for the wording of this. But
Yes.
What's your take on this? It looks like China are getting something that we are not.
Yeah, they're getting Mulan in the theatres, and well done to China. If you're going to release, Stephen, a movie like this, then perhaps that's the best market to target. Because, Stephen, when we reacted to the trailer, I think I done one on my lonesome initially.
I've not done one yet, John.
Yeah, well, maybe it was just me on my lonesome then.
Yeah.
When I reacted to the trailer, there was much love coming from the sort of Chinese demographic.
Yeah.
Lots of Chinese people posting in the video,
Yeah.
saying they were so excited to see it. This was prior to the coronavirus pandemic. So there's a lot of anticipation over in China for this movie. So maybe this is a great decision. The rest of the world, which is perhaps not as inclined to risk life and limb to go to a theatre and see it, give them it on Disney Plus, straight to streaming service, rental, VOD, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then for markets which also don't have Disney Plus, you have to release it in the theatres.
Yeah.
But China, I don't know if that's necessarily the case with China, that they don't actually have that they don't have Disney Plus over there. I think they're just releasing it there because they realise there's a lot of anticipation, there's a lot of love for the movie and just the themes and the vibe that people were getting from the trailer.
Could be
And
political, John.
It could be political as well.
Yeah.
But I think they realise they can get perhaps the best of both worlds. Make a mint from $29.99, whatever it is, rental fees from the rest of the world, and hopefully ridiculous box office sales from China and the actual theatrical release. Part of me would like to see this movie being released sort of concurrently, like Bill and Ted Face the Music. It gets a sort of slower, or not a slower, a smaller is the word I'm looking for, theatrical release throughout the world, and then it goes on to streaming service after a couple of days, or maybe even concurrently.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. But I think it's the correct decision. Bob Chapek saying it's a one-off. This guy's saying that a lot, that it's a one-off. I don't think this is a one-off. This whole testing the waters with streaming services, I don't expect to see big MCU movies hitting Disney Plus, even for rental fees. They'd have to charge $100 to make their money back to a similar level as to what they would in a theatre. Just anticipation, the buzz of the fandom going to watch it 10, 15 times and having to pay a ticket fare every single time they go and see it. That doesn't work when you rent it. You've got it forever, as they suggest with Mulan. So I don't think it is a one-off. I think we'll see this happening again and again until this coronavirus goes away, we get a vaccine. They're just going to have to release movies like this, the non-gold tier, huge blockbuster MCU type movies on VOD for rental fees. And then they'll hopefully release the big ones in the theatres and test the market when things hopefully calm down again. But Stephen, I'm getting off on tangents, man. I think it's the correct decision to release this in China, if it's safe to do so, if there's anticipation. I don't know what it's like over in China, the theatre setup. I don't know what the box office is like in terms of performance. Is it like half what it was before the pandemic? Is it a third? But clearly Disney have done their research and they think they've got a decent chance of making money back on this movie in China by releasing it in theatres. And again, it may be an absolute necessity. They may not have Disney Plus over there, but I think it's the correct decision, Stephen. That's the gist.
I hope it is, because we don't want a second spike.
No.
Especially in China.
No, because they're sort of the hub to the world in a sense. They create so many things. They manufacture drugs and just all sorts of other things. And look, I'm trying to perhaps buy some props for the show, and they're coming from China. So,
but what do you make of the...
Get it done.
What do you make of the poster,
safely.
John?
The poster, I think the poster's absolutely superb, Stephen. I'll actually flip that to you. You'll be on the screen at the moment and let everyone see it in case they haven't yet seen it. What a truly beautiful poster that is. It's so vibrant, it's saturated, it captures Mulan perfectly. It shows you that sort of warrior spirit. You've got the mountainous thing in the background. I wish I could speak Chinese so I could understand what that says. I presume it just says coming soon.
Yeah,
or something
probably,
like that.
Yeah, hopefully.
But it's very, very neat. It's a very cool poster. All of the posters have been off the charts for this movie. The promotional stuff has been really well handled. I've loved the trailers. It looks like a completely different take to any other Disney remake that I've seen, because I haven't actually seen the original Mulan either, so perhaps that's why. But even other people who have seen the original Mulan are saying it's different. It feels like a different story to the original sort of animated. So they've put a lot of work into it. They've differentiated it. There's not as many musical numbers. One of the big characters from the animated one isn't coming back. A lot of people hate that.
Yeah.
The lead actress who's playing Mulan has wound up a lot of people in Hong Kong and whatnot.
All right. Okay.
Making political statements about China, supporting them. I don't know anything about that. I can't get involved about things I don't know. That's putting people off. But I still think there's great anticipation. I think people are excited for this movie in China. And you may see it making some big money from this decision, splitting it. Theatrical releases where they can, VOD where they can. I think they'll make the money, Stephen.
I think they will as well, John. I think it will be a success, and it could streamline the rest of the blockbusters to follow.
Hopefully.
It could be leading the way there. But we'll move on, John,
yes,
to our next article. It's could Coming to America 2 be heading to a streaming service? I don't think it's called that. I think it's called Coming
to America. Yeah.
America, yeah.
I had to correct it.
Yeah, this is in from Cinema Blend. As of right now, Craig Brewer, I was going to say Brewster, former Dundee United player, is Coming to America appears to be in the former camp, set to hit the big screen just in time for Christmas. But if the current rumours pan out, then that may not be true for too long. According to the Washington Post reporter Stephen Zaitchik, there has been conversations going on behind the scenes at Paramount Pictures that could eventually lead to the Eddie Murphy starring sequel finding distribution on a streaming service instead of playing in theatres. Now, I just zoomed in there for some weird reason. If this sounds somewhat familiar, it's because Paramount does have a history of pulling off this kind of manoeuvre. A few years ago, the studio set up a whole surprise release for Julius Onah's The Cloverfield Paradox when they dropped it on Netflix immediately following the Super Bowl. That was a big surprise. And 2020, they've made two similar deals. First, Paramount partnered with the streaming giant to put Michael Showalter's The Lovebirds out into the world. And then just a few weeks ago, it was announced that Aaron Sorkin's The Trial of the Chicago 7 will not be getting the big screen treatment now. Eddie Murphy's got a very good relationship with Netflix.
Yeah.
So I would put my money on, if this is coming out on a streaming service, I would probably go with Netflix. Craig Brewer as well has got a history. Dolomite is my name, kind of stands to attention with me right away. But this film, John, very much like Bill and Ted's Face the Music. I don't actually mind where I see this film. It's not a big blockbuster film. It's a sequel to a film, that was so long ago.
A cult classic.
No one's really expecting anything from it. I
No.
don't think many people are expecting much from Bill and Ted either, other than just to reminisce and have a good time. And I think this is much the same, When this was first announced, John, I think we talked about it maybe 2 years ago. We thought it was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy at that point was kind of, I don't want to say anonymous, but it basically was. He just wasn't really at the forefront of anything at this point.
Yeah.
But over the last couple of years, he's done Saturday Night Live. He's done, obviously, Dolomite as well. So it seems to be on that upward trajectory again. What's your take on this, John? Would you prefer to see this? I don't know what your plans were on actually this film coming out, whether or not you were going to be rushing to the front of that queue.
Probably not, Stephen. Not during a global pandemic, no. I think my plans would have probably been to go and watch it. Maybe once it hit a streaming service anyway, perhaps a year down the road. I loved the original coming to America. I thought it was absolutely magnificent. It was a modern day comedic cult classic. That was a mouthful, but it's true. It was a modern day comedic cult classic. Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy were absolutely fantastic. You had James Earl Jones doing his thing. It's King Jaffe Joffer. It was great with Samuel coming in and doing a sort of minor cameo. Loved that movie. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to top it, but I tell you what, Eddie Murphy seems to be having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. He's coming into his own with Dolomite Is My Name and whatnot. He's coming back and doing a stand-up tour.
Yeah.
He's having a bit of a moment. He's somehow managed to convince just about everybody who could possibly come back from the original to come back. And then you sort of marry that. Who is it that's coming in as well? Is it Wesley Snipes?
John,
playing?
it's we've got Wesley Snipes is coming in.
Yeah.
He's going to be the sort of villain in the film.
Yeah, he's the sort of tyrannical dictator.
And you've
to a
got
neighbouring
Arsenio
state.
Hall coming back, Shara Headley,
Yeah.
Jermaine Fowler, Leslie Jones, John Amos, Tracy Morgan, Wesley Snipes, as we said, and of course James Earl Jones. So
Steve, man, it's very exciting
Yeah.
that he's managed to sort of attract the original OG gang back. He's sort of
they're all
bolstered it
alive.
with-
which
They're all
is-
alive.
yeah.
And I tell you what, James Earl Jones, his voice sounded a lot better in the last Lion King movie than it did in Rogue One.
Yeah, strangely
It's
enough.
sounding a little bit weak. It was on. We speculated he could have perhaps been double tracking the original voice
Yeah.
and maybe overdubbing his current voice to beefing up a little bit. But
could be, yeah.
you don't really care about his voice. He's going to be an older guy in this
Yeah.
anyway, unless it's a sort of flashback, which wouldn't work at all.
Uh,
I don't know where they're going with it, man, but I think it's tailor-made for streaming services. I think that's the correct decision. And look, Dolomite was a real success on Netflix.
Yeah.
Stands to reason. I'd presume Eddie Murphy, a lot of his stand-ups, specials and whatnot, may very well be on Netflix now as well. I don't watch a lot of stand-up
No.
specials, but it seems to be the natural home for that content. He's clearly got a good deal with them, and I presume it would be Netflix that it would pop onto, and that'd be a great sort of catch for them. With this continuing battle with Apple TV Plus and obviously Disney Plus and all these other streaming services, Apple TV are picking up Tom Hanks movies and it's doing very well.
Yeah.
They have to come in and sort of battle that with their own answers, and getting coming to America, whether it's anywhere near as good as the original one or not, having someone like Eddie Murphy, if it does explode word of mouth, it's going to bolster their subscribers. And it feels like a movie that's perfect for a streaming service. I don't know if this movie needs to be seen in a big screen in a theatre. I don't feel like it's necessary.
No. I don't think so, John. You know, I love the first movie. I go back every couple of years to watch that film, and it still tickles me. Yeah. It's probably the most perfect romantic comedy he ever made. It came out at a really good time as well, you know, because we knew him from stand-up. He did the Beverly Hill Cop stuff, which it was littered with obviously humour and stuff like that, but it was more serious tone. When he was doing films like this is what I love Eddie Murphy doing, films like this, where every scene, every 5 minutes, every 5 seconds, there's a joke, whether it be a physical piece of comedy or if it's just a facial reaction, a turn to the camera. Just, it's such a funny film. It's such a funny cast as well. So, as you said, you know, it's very good that they've managed to get the majority of these cast members all back.
Absolutely.
You know, you're talking many years, 31 years, 32 years
88,
ago. Yeah, so it's a long time in coming. It sounded silly at the time, but if they can avoid maybe, you know, winks at the camera, you know, acknowledging the first film, then
I think they says that they've got the blend just right.
Yeah.
The fans of the original will be very happy. There's a lot in there that you will have. There'll be a little nods to the original movie, but apparently the story's very good. Fans of the original will like it quite a bit. This is Eddie Murphy, of course. He's not going to talk down his next movie. He's not going to say, this is absolute shite. It's an abomination. It slaps the original movie in the face. Don't
Kills
go and
it,
watch this, guys. It's a mistake. He's going to talk it up. But I trust Eddie. I trust him in his recent performances in Dolomite and whatnot. I trust that the man is hitting a bit of a sort of gold patch again.
I think he's found his mojo, as they say, John. But we'll move on anyway to our next article. This is coming in from Cinema Blend as well. It's Black Panther Collaborator is devastated about possibly not returning for the sequel. I read this earlier, John. I thought, what are they doing? They're changing crew members, etc. I'm not liking the sound of this because we had heard some rumours about Black Panther 2. They're kind of shifting the sort of responsibility of the characters onto other actors and stuff like that, which we'll not get into. But fear not, it's about Rachel Morrison, who was the director of photography on the original Black Panther, and she was set to return for the sequel, but she was 2 days into filming her directorial debut, Flint Strong, when the global pandemic closed down the film, while initially hoping to restart filming next month. Shooting has now been scheduled for January 2021, and that's likely going to put the filming of Flint Strong right up against the filming of Black Panther 2, meaning that Morrison won't be able to work with Ryan Coogler on the Marvel follow-up. Though she is holding out hope, Morrison tells IndieWire, I was supposed to deliver my movie and then a few months later hop onto Black Panther 2. Now there might be some issue of those overlapping. Ryan and I talk regularly. He called me up and because he had a dream a few weeks ago. He was 3 weeks into production and this male DP comes out holding a camera and he's like, that's not my DP, where the F is Rachel? If we had gone back in September, I think we could make it, but now it's
sounds like a cop out, Ryan.
of truth for everyone to realise if my movie is definitely going back in January, that I probably won't be able to do Panther, which is devastating to me.
If we can't, that thing, Stephen.
If we can't,
shortens an already short movie title to one word. Panther, Black Panther.
BP.
Seriously,
If we can't go back in January and we get pushed into fall of next year, maybe I can do Panther. You never really take into consideration crew. You're always sort of focusing on the cast, John, when these things happen. Crossovers, scheduling windows, etc. It just seems to happen a lot, and it's more predominantly sort of publicised when it comes to cast. When it comes to crew, you don't really consider it.
And composers as well.
Yeah, exactly. It does happen from time to time, but obviously if I was this director of photography, I'd be very disappointed as well because I thought she did a very fine job in the first movie. Some iconic shots.
She's worked with him so much as well, Stephen. You get that? Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're fine, you're okay.
They form good sort of bonds, directors and DPs. There you go. I'll just shorten it as well. Director of photography.
The DP on BP.
Yeah, DP on BP. But yeah, I'll let you back in. I just thought I'd fling that in.
I was going to pass it over to you anyway, John, just for your thoughts on this,
Steve, man, I think it's a shame for her. Because she, as I say, she's an incredibly talented cinematographer, not cinematographer. She is great.
Yeah.
And I loved the original Black Panther. I thought some of the shots were stunning, the way she managed to capture the action. Jackson. Some of the choreography was amazingly caught by this woman. And look, as I did say, she's worked with him so many times on Fruitvale Station. There's a few other ones which are not spring to mind at the moment. But she's such a talented person. But look, ultimately you have to go for your own movie. If she's got the opportunity to film and direct her own movie, then you have to let go of the big blockbuster and just go and do your own thing. This could be the springboard for you into doing your own movies. Maybe in 10 years' time you could be doing what Ryan is doing and doing your own
if
MCU
it all fails,
movies.
You could always go back to working with Ryan Coogler again. It's not a bad gig, really, is it?
Exactly, yeah. And if she could maybe just move her movie to another time slot and just come in and actually do the director of photography work on Black Panther 2. I don't know how much does she want her own movie out there. But look, it's a shame, man. I'm excited for Black Panther 2. To see where it goes next. How much of a hands-on role Chadwick Boseman's going to have, because there was talk of him being replaced by Shuri, I think it is.
Yeah,
there's two ones, there's Zuri and Shuri. I always get them mixed up. I'm pretty sure it's Shuri's the sister.
Yeah.
She was there was talk of her perhaps replacing him, that he was upset He was just getting his claws, you see what I did there, into the character. And there was a sense trying to pass over him to the sister character. So it's going to be intriguing to see if
After
we do.
one film.
Yeah, one film,
You'd
I know.
expect maybe after a third
Well, he was
film
in
do that, yeah.
Civil War, wasn't he? And he's been in 2 Avengers. No,
Yeah.
2 Avengers movies.
Well,
because he
tail end of
dusted
Endgame, yeah.
in Infinity. And obviously, he's been in 4 movies, so it'll be interesting to see if they can perhaps pass or whether they will attempt, I'll reword it, to pass the baton over to the Shuri character as early as a Black Panther 2. I think it'd be the wrong decision.
Yeah.
But where they're going to go with this, Stephen, where they're going to go with this movie, but I've got a degree of confidence in Ryan Coogler, no matter what he decides to do, that he will get it right. But where do you go after that?
Well, you
first
don't
movie?
want a remake of the first movie. You don't want the same sort of storyline. But you're right, John.
Well, they opened the door up, didn't they? Wakanda opening the door up and becoming more receptive to helping outside communities and whatnot. So,
but you can't really go like an outside sort of tribe or an army coming into Wakanda. It seems such a watered down thing to do after obviously Infinity War. It's going to be very interesting.
You've not got Eric Killmonger as well, so
no.
And you don't have Michael B. Jordan in there, and then it's usually demonstrably, I'm going to use that word, worse than what you would obviously get if you've got Michael B. Jordan in a movie.
Yeah.
Christine, look, man, it's a shame for her. She's devastated, but I think she'll get over it when she actually gets to use her own skills as a director and create her own movie. I think that'd be quite a rewarding experience.
I think looking at the bigger picture, she can look back on her career whenever it will end and say, I played a large role.
I did it my way.
In one of the biggest MCU films ever made. But
and
I think
Oscar nominated and winning.
Yeah.
MCU
Was
movie.
Black Panther out before Infinity War?
I think it was, yeah.
So her visuals or her direction of the shots for Wakanda,
Steve, again, man,
that would have been the first
Yeah.
time we saw Wakanda, and a lot of that work and vision would have been down to her then.
You just think of the movie, Stephen,
Yeah.
though, going off to, I think it was Korea or something they went to with obviously, what was he called? Ulysses Claw, Andy Serkis.
Yep.
I think that was his name, and
Yep.
just some of the stunning visuals you got then. There was some amazing things going on within the club and whatnot. The music was amazing, so it's going to be a shame. But I'm sure Ryan has already got something earmarked. That's why I says he's having a laugh. Essentially, he's taking the mick out of her in a sense when he's phoning her up and saying, "Oh, I had a dream last night that there was a male director of photography came out, and I
went
thought,
off my
where
nut. Believe me, I went off my nut.
exactly.
In my dream.
I think he's subtly hinting to her that, look, you're doing your own movie. It's going to clash with my movie. So I think we'll just phase you out and we'll bring in a male director of photography. I've already got my mind on him. I dreamt about him last night.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing, Ryan.
Did Ryan Coogler, did he do the first Creed movie or the second one? I can't remember.
I think he did I don't know if he did, Stephen. Was it not? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. He may have done the first Creed.
I'm pretty sure that
the second one was a different director.
Yeah, I think he had issues with scheduling as well, so he could easily just turn around and say, shit happens. It happened to me, so deal with
Who
it.
did do the second Creed movie? Yeah.
I would have to check it out, John, but
He definitely did the first Creed movie.
I don't really know, but you do look at it's unfortunate. I think if I was in
Stephen Cable Jr.
Yeah, I think perhaps if I was in her shoes, I'd be pretty devastated as well, especially if you'd such a great time, working on that film with a fantastic director, and I'm pretty sure they will cross paths once again if it doesn't work out.
Yes, Stephen, as I said before, man, they sort of form that sort of bond. I've combined two words there again. I'm having a great show tonight. They form bonds, the director and photographers and sort of the directors. You see it throughout history of cinema. They make magic happen. Usually it's the same with composers as well. You've obviously got Hans Zimmer working most famously with Chris Nolan, so I'm sure she'll be back with Ryan at some point, but just not in an MCU movie. Sadly.
Definitely not. But we'll move on, John, to our second last topic. It's Zac Efron starring in 3 Men and a Baby movie remake for Disney Plus. Now, this is in from Screen Rant. Zac Efron will star in an upcoming remake of the hit 1987 film 3 Men and a Baby for Disney Plus. The former teen heartthrob has slowly but steadily been in the process of broadening his career by taking on a variety of new and different roles. Now, I'm not going to read the rest of it, John, because I get annoyed at this because when Zac Efron was doing his High School Musical thing, I had no interest. Obviously I'm the wrong sex for a start. I'm not interested. I was probably in my late 20s when that was out anyway. It would have been weird me watching that. So I didn't really pay much attention to him. One of the things, John, I couldn't believe how young he is. He's only 32.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saw him in obviously the extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile, what a title, playing Ted Bundy. Thought it was a fantastic movie.
It was pretty damn good, yeah.
So interesting, you know. It was more about the sort of psychological aspects of that criminal, you know, rather than a gory horror. You know, it was more about manipulation, mind control, etc. over these young teens, and I thought it was amazing. It was a ringer for Ted Bundy as well, which was very creepy. And I thought, this is great. He's done The Great Showman, which was more a sort of comfort zone for him, performing, singing and dancing. But he was fine in that as well. I'm saying he's fine. He was really good in it. Kind of underplayed that part there, but
yeah, he had some amazing scenes with Zendaya and obviously Hugh Jackman. The one in the bar, I think it was, with her dancing and stuff.
John.
Yeah, I mean, it was a real Stephen. That was an underrated musical, I have to say. Also, it was in the box office for about 15 weeks or something.
Recall that, John. Yeah, we talked about it for.
It doesn't seem to get spoke about in the same sort of light as a La La Land or something like that. It's strange.
Seems to have just fizzled out after maybe the last the 6 months after the film was released. It just nobody really talked about it.
And then Hugh tried to do a live show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. See, there we go. We forgot about that as well. It's a bit like Chinese food, isn't it? It kind of goes away after a while, and you want more. So, but in terms of obviously Zac Efron, John, I was disappointed to see this because I know that he enjoys doing comedy. He's done it with Dwayne Johnson, hasn't he? Yes. Baywatch, I think they did together.
Was that a comedy?
Well, I took it as a comedy.
Unintentional comedy.
There was a lot of funny moments in it, John, whether they were intended or not. It wasn't an out-and-out comedy, but
he done Neighbour with Seth Rogen.
Yeah, you know, and I understand this kind of thing would maybe appeal to someone that's maybe at the end of their career or maybe somebody coming up, but I think he's in a place where he doesn't really have to do a remake of a classic film, does he?
Maybe
for Disney Plus.
Yeah, maybe he still has that Disney contract.
Well, I was going to say, John, he doesn't owe Disney anything, surely.
No, not a chance.
But what's your two things, John? Zac Efron doing a remake of a classic film. It doesn't really have to be remade for a streaming service.
Yeah.
And a remake of Three Men and a Baby. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I think I may have spoken, I may not have. I may have ditched it off of a solo show, but I think that I recall hearing about this Three Men and a Baby remake.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really a fan of the idea, Stephen, because, again, there's something about those movies from that time period of time. There you go, I'll reword it again. There's something intangible about them. They don't seem to transition well over in modern day era filmmaking, because people were different back then, 30, 40 years ago. It was 30 years ago, I presume it was the 1980s.
Maybe he's playing that little ghost boy in the film.
Yeah.
The cardboard car. Do you remember that?
Yeah. But they don't seem to transition well, these movies, into the modern day era. And again, Disney, I mean, fair enough, remaking classic animated movies, which are just classic. They have that sort of intangibleness about them anyway, because they're just, it's Disney, it's classic Walt doing, when he wasn't doing his sort of right wing, that's all speculation, I better not get down that rabbit hole. When he was creating cartoons and being good Walt, then it was truly magical. And when you redo those animated movies to a new era with a new lick of paint, a new animation technique, perhaps live action mixed, which we've seen with Beauty and the Beast, then that is special. But doing remakes of this sort of live action movies from 30 years ago, is it necessary? Can you better the Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg and sort of Ted Danson performances?
I don't think so.
I don't think you can. I don't think you can bring in the actors and get that chemistry. There's something about Tom Selleck and his absolutely majestic moustache.
Magnum, yeah.
One thing's for sure, Stephen. Zac Efron is definitely not playing the Tom Selleck character. I reckon he is playing Steve Guttenberg's character.
Yeah,
because he's kind of got that vibe. He's got that haircut, and he's got that sort of. I mean, he's a little bit more muscular than Steve, but Steve was a bit of a unit back in the day as well. But I'm going off in tangents about which character he could be playing. I hope it just gets kiboshed, that it's still not set in stone, that it doesn't happen. I don't want to see a Three Men and a Baby remake.
Does it sound like Zac Efron's doing someone at Disney a favour, you know?
Stephen, I think Disney are low-key bringing Zac Efron in to sort of... I'm going to break down my theory here.
It's a trap!
But no, it's not a trap. This is a moneymaker for Zac. My theory is they have got him eyed for perhaps the Adam Warlock role in the MCU.
Okay.
I think they're just saying, look, well, if you want that, then perhaps maybe you can come in and do something for Disney Plus for us. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Come in and work in this shitty little Three Men and a Baby remake. Give it some A-list zest. Bring people into your streaming service. And as a reward, Zach, we'll give you the Adam Warlock character in the MCU.
Never thought
That's
of
what
that.
I think, Stephen.
Yeah.
I want to see Zach playing Adam Warlock.
Can we maybe number this episode, John,
Yes.
of this show, and then if this
Go
is
back.
right, we can rub it in the faces of the bigger YouTubers
I
out there.
absolutely want to see Zac Efron playing a superhero. The guy is absolutely shredded. He's a unit. He's still relatively young. He's got at least 10 years, 15 years playing a character, much like obviously Chris Evans when he started playing Steve Rogers in the early 2010s, I'm going to call them.
Yeah.
Mid-noughties, I don't know what.
What age is Dwayne Johnson just now? Cause
He's about 50 odds.
and he's just stepping into the
Yeah,
Black
but
Adam.
he's
role.
an absolute enigma though, Stephen. That man's just, he's an alien. He's from a different universe.
I can't believe he's that old.
Yeah, I mean, he is, believe me, because he was mid-20s, I reckon, 30s, in the late 90s during the Attitude Era. So, but what I'm saying is he's still young enough. I'm going off on tangents again.
Yeah.
I think Zac Efron's still young enough that he can play a superhero character. He's got the acting chops, as you did say. There's no genre that he's not really dabbled with. He's done the drama with the Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile. He's done the Bad Neighbour with, obviously, Seth Rogen. He's done just about everything, really.
Yeah.
He was in The Disaster Artist. He's done musicals. Now he's doing crap remakes, potentially on Disney Plus. I want to see him in the MCU, and if this is a sort of facilitator for that happening, then so be it, man. Do I have to go and watch it? Well, if it makes Zac Efron and Adam Warlock, then yes, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
There you go, Disney. You've got me.
Well, that's
And
the
I
answer was
subscribed to
looking
it, and
for.
I've not watched anything on Disney Plus in
Yeah.
about a year now, so
Got
why
a comment coming in from Trisha Walsh, John, namesake yours. Loving the show. Thank you very much, Trisha.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, we
know
like
who that is.
Yeah. We'll just move on to our final topic, John. It's Blazing Saddles remake with cats and dogs moving forward. Blazing Samurai, the CG animated reimagined of Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles, is moving forward now that it has financial backing. Blazing Saddles, the
I know the
1974
viewing has just dropped as we bring that topic up, Stephen.
satirical western from Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder is being reimagined as an animated family film set in the world of anthropomorphic animals. The new version
I don't even know what
titled
that means.
Blazing Samurai will focus on a dog who wants to be a samurai and is tricked by a warlord cat into becoming sheriff of a dreary town under his control. A town almost entirely populated by cats. That's a dog's nightmare, isn't it? But yeah, John, this came in. You can't make a remake of Blazing Saddles, but if you are going to do it, then do it with cats and dogs and do it in animated form.
Yes.
Now, I'm just trying to find out the voices that are going to be included in this. The voice cast includes Michael Cera, Samuel Jackson, Ricky Gervais, Digimon Hunsu, is it? And
Hunsu,
a bit of a meta cheekiness. Mel Brooks as well is lending his voice. So what do you think of this?
Stephen, look, it's wacky, it's zany, it's mental. You're making a remake of a Mel Brooks movie.
It's going to be 3D as well.
It's 3D and it's featuring animated cats and dogs. Your initial thoughts would be, that's a god-awful idea, it's terrible. But as you did say, it's absolutely impossible to remake a Mel Brooks movie in live action because the man is so unique of a filmmaker. He's such a unique he makes such unique movies. They're in a genre of their own. It's almost like, what's that guy called? I always forget him. I always forget his goddamn name. The guy who worked with the Monty Python. I think he did some...
Terry Gilliam.
Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
He makes such unique movies. Yeah. No one can make a movie like that. You cannot remake their movies and do it justice. It would flop immediately. So what's the best way to do it? Do something like this. Completely rebrand it. Do an animated movie with the general beats of the story kept in. Because look, Blazing Saddles is great, man.
Yeah.
It's a great ride. It's about this guy who's just down in his confidence, refinding his confidence and helping out this unlikely ally and the sheriff coming in into a town that's not really willing to accept him yet.
People seem to forget that though, John. The good, it's all good elements about Blazing Saddles if you're not that way uptight and stuff like that, but that seems to be lost in this day and age.
Yeah.
People seem to home in on the stuff that seems to be dated. Obviously, the PC stuff and all that. But you're right. There's a great storyline there. There's a great bed to work from and work up from that. And having the likes of Ricky Gervais in there as well. He's got the perfect voice. We've seen his animated stuff anyway from the Ricky Gervais show.
Yeah.
And it worked well because it was based on, obviously, it was the podcast recordings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they animated it. Samuel Jackson's got another distinctive voice in there. Michael Cera as well. Great voice. So I think it's got all the recipes to be a success as long as the writing is, you don't want it to be scene for scene remake or anything like that, and it can't be anyway because obviously a lot of the dialogue and stuff like that would not be allowed these days, and certainly watching that in animated form would be very strange. But I would be on board for this.
Love to see that guy's incredibly white teeth though.
Yeah,
the guy that sings the Camtown Racetrack or something like that.
I can't remember his name. He's in Back to the Future.
Yeah, Free,
wasn't it? Yeah.
It was the guy that was doing the gun thing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see him in animated film. That'd be amazing. Try to capture him as a cat.
Cheshire Cat,
Yeah, Cheshire Cat. That'd be great. Stephen, look, man, I love the cast that they've assembled. It's a truly magnificent voice acting cast. If you bring Samuel L. Jackson into this and combine him with Mel Brooks' story magic, you've just got a match made in heaven. Ricky Gervais, this is a man who just lives and breathes satire.
Yeah.
You've got a really talented cast there. Mel Brooks is still doing it, man. The guy's in his 90s. He's in there. That's enough for me. If it can capture some of the vibes of A Secret Life of Pets or something like that and mix it with Mel Brooks' zaniness, then it could be an absolute success, man. We've not yet, I don't think we've been bestowed by an incredible amount of animated movies coming up in the near future, so fair play, man. It's not Studio Ghibli. I don't know if it is them, but I think it's a Line production. Fair play to them, taking a sort of gamble on this and putting $46 million into it as well to produce it and obviously make it a living, breathing thing. That takes balls, man, to sort of adapt a Mel Brooks movie to animated form. Hopefully it pays off them, man.
Fingers crossed, yeah.
Deserve all the luck in the world for attempting that. But look, guys, I'm done.
I'm done.
I am done, man. It's so warm in this room, I can't even begin to tell you.
Tell by the shine off my faces, John.
Yeah, exactly. And I've not even done my weights yet. I've got to do leg weights after this. Spare a thought for me, guys, please. But look, man, what did you make about the array of topics we spoke about? The headline, first and foremost, Mulan looking like it's going to get a theatrical release in China. Not going to be consigned to Disney Plus only, as we initially, as Alan Partridge likes to say, thought it's going to have a sort of concurrent release in different markets. What did you make about the director of cinematography? I've combined two different things
the
there.
DP.
The DP from Black Panther, missing out potentially on Black Panther 2. What did you make about the array of other topics we spoke about? Zac Efron perhaps joining a Three Men and a Baby remake on Disney Plus. If you've got anything to say about any of those topics, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see us continue to gibber on in incredibly hot rooms about movies and review movies as well. We're going to be doing Kick-Ass this Friday. If you subscribe, then we will see you then, guys. Bye-bye.